Hello and welcome to this Schools Computer Club Initiative seminar. The theme of the conference and seminar is Expanding Innovation Horizon. In this presentation, I'll be talking about building tenacity in a world of emerging technologies. And the content is as follows. I'll start with a brief introduction and executive summary. I'll quickly talk about what innovation is, just so that we're all on the same page. We'll talk about the fourth industrial revolution and emerging technologies, then go through technology trends, the common technology trends we are seeing, and the forecast for the next few decades. We'll talk about building tenacity, and then a quick reminder that innovation, digital transformation, all are, constitute a journey. It's not a one-time thing. It's something that you do and learn and improve upon. And then finally, we'll have a conclusion, or what I choose to call to action. So first of all, as a form of introduction, the business world today is very competitive. You've got to be competitive to survive. Innovation and technology will enable survival, will enable competitive advantage to businesses. Businesses that don't innovate, businesses that don't take advantage of emerging technologies are not likely to last very long. Now, with the advent of the fourth industrial revolution, which we'll talk about in a little bit, businesses have to learn and adopt new technology. So in order to remain relevant, what got you here will not get you there. So businesses must be agile, they must be relevant to stay competitive and adopt technology. Now, new skills are required in order to get sustained innovation trajectory. Your workforce, everyone involved must learn new skills, and they must keep learning because these things are changing so rapidly. One word of caution, technology adoption must be done responsibly. When we're talking about clean energy, we're talking about electric vehicles, battery storage. These are things that also give mind to the environment. We adopt technology, but we also don't want to destroy the environment. That's why there's a lot of discussion about crypto mining and how much energy it's consuming. So technology adoption must be done responsibly. And then a final word of caution, as I mentioned, digital transformation is a journey, it's not a one-time sprint. So what is innovation? Innovation is all about strategy. It's about execution of new ideas. Now, the ideas may be brand new, never heard of before in the world. It might be a combination of existing ideas. I'm sure we all know the story of Post-it. 3M was, a researcher in 3M was experimenting with a new type of glue, and it wasn't working for the purpose, the original purpose, until they pivoted and the idea of Post-it came about. So it might be an extrapolation, a combination of an existing idea that probably didn't work, or out of which you can extract more value. The innovative mindset is attuned to breaking barriers and expanding frontiers. The innovative mindset doesn't stay static. It must make it a habit. It must be part of their DNA to break barriers, to push frontiers. Innovative mindset requires resilience, persistence, and ability to recognize and quickly react to product market fit. If you stay too long, you get an idea, you recognize a need. If you don't react quickly, someone is going to get there ahead of you and you'd have lost that momentum, that innovative edge that you came into the market with. Now, research has shown that more companies fail because they fail to adopt new technologies than due to economic downturn. Economic downturn, they go and come. But companies that fail to adapt to new technology tend to fail. And the example there is of Kodak and Fiji. They were all into cameras and films, and Kodak eventually died with the advent of technology. But Fuji, expanded, and they're now into screens, imaging, and all kinds of things. Fuji is still existing today. Kodak is as good as dead. Okay. Now I want to share this image of what innovation adoption lifecycle looks like. The thing is that we want to get on the left side of this bell curve. The innovators, the early adopters, the early majority, that's where you get the most value out of your innovation. By the time you get to the top of the bell curve and the curve starts descending to the right-hand side, it's becoming mass market. A lot of competitors are coming in and they're going to crowd you out. So as an innovator, you want to be sure that your products fall in the left side of this bell curve. you're innovative, you have early adopters who are willing to take risks, who are willing to say, okay, the product is not perfect, but it looks like what I'm looking at. The early majority will now believe and they see that it's correct for what they need. By the time you get a lot more people, late majority and laggards, you should have started yet another cycle from the left-hand side. We'll revisit this in a few moments. So let's quickly talk about the fourth industrial revolution and emerging technologies. What's the history of industrial revolutions? This is the fourth wave. The first wave was of mechanization, steam power, water power, and all that. Then the second wave moved to mass production, assembly line, factories. Then the third wave, you have computing, computers, and automation. And in this fourth wave, we're talking about cyber physical systems, where physical systems and you're using software, internet to connect. We're talking about Internet of Things, industrial Internet of Things. So sometimes the fourth industrial revolution is sometimes known as the Industry 4.0. So Industry 4.0, surrounding it, you have a lot of these emerging technologies you're talking about. You're digitizing, you're integrating your vertical and horizontal value chains. You're using digital business models. You're digitizing and your products and services. And around that, you have data analytics and all the capabilities, okay? Data analytics is kind of the glue that binds it all together. And then you have those technologies that we're talking about, cloud computing, mobile, IoT, location detection, human-machine interaction, 3D printing, sensors, and all those things. Those are the emerging technologies that blossom out, that fan out from the core of Industry 4.0. And some of the technologies that we're talking about, we describe them as emerging, but they're already here. Artificial intelligence is here. It's almost part of our everyday life. Augmented reality, blockchain, drones, IoT, robots, virtual reality, 3D printing. And you see examples in the lower part. We already have them, in use as part of our day-to-day lives, as part of what companies have to offer. So the technology of tomorrow, the so-called emerging technologies are actually already here. And we've got to learn to jump on the train and be part of what brings about that innovation, be part of what extracts value out of this technology, and who knows, maybe even bring more technologies. Now, there's this study by McKinsey about technology trends. And you'll see if you go left to right, next level or process automation, that's industrial IoT, robots, robotic process automation. Next, you have process virtualization. Okay, that's why you have digital twins. In a factory, you have the physical, and then you have the virtual twin of the factory. And you can make adjustments, you can make changes, you can test things out on the digital twin of the physical machine. So you don't have to tinker with a physical ongoing production. You can do all the tests on the on the digital twin. 3D, 4D printing, the future of connectivity. We're already talking about 5G. 5G is almost commonplace now. IoT. Those are kind of tech trends we're seeing. We're seeing distributed infrastructure, cloud computing, edge computing. Those are all part of the distributed infrastructure. Next generation computing, quantum computing, and then applied AI, computer vision, natural language processing, speed technology. All those things are now part and parcel of us. We're looking about, machine learning, human learning, neural networks. These are all part of applying or extending the boundaries of AI. And then the future of product programming. We're talking about software 2.0, no code or low code programming, and that's the trend. In future, in fact, starting right now, you don't need to write a lot of code to be able to do your algorithm, be able to put your algorithm across. And of course, trust architecture, in that we're talking about zero trust security, we're talking about blockchain, which is a sort of trust architecture. Now, on the right-hand side, you have the industry-specific trends in the biorevolution, biomolecules, biocomputing, and all that. Next generation materials, nanomaterials, new stuff being extracted out of existing. And then clean technology, I mentioned that the future of clean technology, smart distribution, smart grids, smart batteries, smart storage of batteries, carbon neutral energy generation. Now, Technology effects, what effects should these technologies that we've said are emerging or our future, what effects are they likely to have in the next 3 or so decades? For the next level process automation, it's envisaged, it's projected that 50% of today's work activities will be automated. 50% of the things that we do today that humans do will be automated. In terms of future of connectivity, up to 80% of the global population would be reached by 5G by 2030. Okay, up to 80% of the world. Yes, 5G is being rolled out in many countries, but it's not as prevalent yet. But in the next 2 or 3 decades, almost everyone in the world would have 5G. Distributed infrastructure, 70% or over 75% of enterprise-generated data will be processed by cloud computing or edge computing by 2025, which is just 3 years away. Next generation computing has the potential to add over $1 trillion, of power and generation to by 2036. Applied AI, over 75% of digital services will have that touch point with either a bot or virtual reality or virtual assistants. We're experiencing them right now, but it's going to find out and touch a lot more people. Future programming, it's already here, reduction in the time required to code because it's going to be low code or no code environment, and trust architecture. About 10% over 10% of global GDP will be associated with blockchain in as little as 5 years' time. On the right-hand side, the industry-specific 45 times cost reduction for sequencing the human genome. Next generation computing, 10 times. Future of clean technologies, 75 times. Because the EVs are coming. People are more concerned about the environment now. They want to preserve that environment. Okay, for the business and for the innovator, we need to know that there are economic gains associated with technology adoption. The key is the timing. Remember that curve, that bell curve we showed about innovation life cycle? The key is to jump in quick. Yes, there might be some errors, but if you wait until everything is stable, everything is fine, you're likely to miss out on the advantages of innovation. So research has shown that those who jump in quickly have greater gains, and laggards tend to have very significant loss. If you see that the blues are the early adopters, okay, and the blacks are those who take their followers. They're waiting for things to stabilize, and as a matter of fact, sometimes they tend to lose because the early adopters have zoomed ahead and they've captured the market. So timing is important both for the innovator and also to the businesses that are adopting these technologies. So let me now quickly talk about building tenacity, because that was the topic. The emerging technologies, how do we build technology? How do we build tenacity in the workforce? First of all, there are some key characteristics of the evolving environment, evolving work environment. Some people call it future of work. With the increase in adoption of technology, the workforce needs to be upskilled or reskilled. There's no two way about it. They need to learn new skills. The remote, distributed, or hybrid work is the norm. Yes, the pandemic accelerated it, but we're going to head this way anyway. So it's going to be a gig economy. You're going to have a lot of digital nomads. And people need to be equipped for that. They need to be prepared for that. That's how to build tenacity for these emerging technologies. Now, diversity, equity, and inclusion, when I say, what has that got to do with it? Research has shown that when there is diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workforce, there's more gain, there's more productivity. As a matter of fact, companies that have formal and make every effort to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion have been shown to have better revenues, greater gain, greater profit than those that do not. So effort is now, people are more sensitive to a more diverse workforce, a more diverse work environment. If you only work with people who look and talk like you, you're not likely to get the best of the creativity that is inherent in them. Sustainability, I talked about that. Sustainability is key, of the environment. Even as we're innovating, we've got to think about the environment, reuse, recycle, we need to conserve energy, we need to reduce waste and move into what is called circular economy. Then also there's also sustainability of our business strategy, of our supply chain, the workforce, and the labor models that we have. So if you're going into gig economy, if you're working with digital models, that model needs to be sustainable. Nature of work in this new environment is characterized by what is called VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And these innovators need to be comfortable working in that environment where things are changing very rapidly. You don't have every fact you need. It's complex and it's ambiguous. There's progressive elaboration. You don't need all the facts to get started. Problem becomes clearer along the way. Put your leg in, dip your leg in the water, and then adapt. And some will call that agility. You can adapt as you go along. So that's the new nature of work. That's what's going to build tenacity. Risk should be seen as normal. Accept uncertainty as part of reality. You've got all your ducks lined up in a row, all the data is lined up, your competitors would have gone way far ahead of you. What else? What are the new technical skills that are required to build workforce tenacity? You need data science skills. We can't run away from data, and everything from what you've seen, data analytics, data science is in there. You need to learn agile, you need to learn lean, because that's the way to go now. Okay, the old waterfall, you lock your customers or business into a particular scope and they can't deviate, and it takes 2-3 years on the project. That's gone. Agile development is key. You do a little bit at a time, develop, and then move on. You have your work carved out into little bits, into small amounts. You deliver in that little, and you're working together with the business. Cybersecurity, I think that's one of the skills that are needed to attain workforce tenacity. Now, beyond the technical skills, in this day and age, you need emotional intelligence, because again, you're working remotely, you're working in a diverse group. You need to be able to operate, relate with your peers, relate up and down the chain. You need to be able to communicate and do your storytelling, do your pitch in a way that is succinct, that is clear, that is, is timed. You don't need those decks of 20 slides. You don't need them anymore. So you need to learn how to communicate. You need to know how to tell your story, practice your elevator speech. And then marketing, is a skill that everyone needs. You don't need to be a marketing professional or a sales professional. Everyone should be doing some form of marketing one way or the other. And these days, it's mostly digital marketing. Collaboration, co-creation. There is no island anymore. You're collaborating with different types of people on different projects. You're co-creating, you're getting ideas, even from the lowest level of the organization all the way to the top. People are encouraged to bring their ideas to the table. There'll be mergers and acquisitions, there'll be alliances. You need to be comfortable with working with other people. Then for workforce to be tenacious, you've got to have a culture of learning. You unlearn what no longer works, and you relearn what needs to be learned. And the phrase is that what got you here won't get you there. So you've got to learn new skills. Nobody is too old to learn. You've got to keep learning, develop a culture of learning. Then because of the prevalent use of artificial intelligence and data analytics, the emphasis now is to ensure to use that ethically, to ensure that you do not violate, you do not cross the line. And some companies, Google and Microsoft, for instance, have decided to set up a data science code of conduct, even where there's no legislation to enforce it. They are building their own ethical framework to ensure that data is not misused. And lately, you've heard about data ethicists. Big companies that do a lot of data work have decided, they created the role of data ethicists to ensure that data is used in an ethical manner. Now, just as I'm rounding up, we need to know that digital transformation and innovation is not always a straight line journey. When there's a new technology, there's a new trigger, or there's an innovation, everybody's excited. So that's what's called the peak of inflated expectation. The expectation is probably higher than reality. Okay, you get to the peak, and then reality begins to set in. It now goes down to what's called the trough of disillusionment. And as you get more enlightened, you begin to climb up again and get productive. And as soon as that productivity begins to peak or reaches a plateau, you start all over again with the next innovation, with the next trigger. Don't stay on that plateau of productivity. Otherwise, you will become a laggard if care is not taken. So what have we talked about today? First of all, because technology is changing very rapidly, speed is of essence. Whatever you do, speed is of essence. Technology is changing. By the time you finally catch up, others have started the innovation. Remember that innovation adoption life cycle. Don't wait until it gets obsolete before you move. Solve a problem, recognize a problem, solve it quickly, extract value out of it quickly, out of your solution quickly. There's something called the minimum viable product. It's not perfect, but it's usable. Start with an MVP. So solve quickly, extract value quickly. Collaboration, cooperation, we talked about that. You need to get used to working with others, working with other groups, and those groups are dynamic. There will be competition. There's also co-opetition. Sometimes you work on a particular project with your competition. So in order to solve an industry problem, agility and responsiveness, dynamic relevance, you need to stay constantly relevant. You're not relevant just for now, but you have your eye also on tomorrow. You're constantly innovating. If something is going to fail, let it fail fast. If something is not working, get out of it quickly, pivot quickly to another solution, okay? Repurpose your solution, reuse them, that's all part of innovation. Develop a culture of lifelong learning, we talked about that. You learn, you unlearn, you relearn. You need to be comfortable with some level of risk and ambiguity. We're living in a VUCA world. You need to make tough ethical decisions. Sometimes the drive for profit, the drive to be competitive might take you over the ethical edge, resist the urge to cross ethical boundaries, and then play the long game, because these technologies are constantly evolving. We're talking about 3 decades from now, 5 decades from now. Plan to stay in the game for as long as it takes. Thank you so much for your attention, and have a good day.